things began to get a little bit better. So we will start with Marcy puts things into perspective and go into home at last. Visiting day was great. Marcy had some really fun memories of the visit that her parents and Beth paid to her on visiting day, but she wondered if the hugs and kisses would be enough to last until the end of camp. Marcy had a lot of thinking to do. After dinner, she and her bunkmates had a short game of catch. Then Marcy went back to her bunk, took off her baseball cap, put her mitt at the foot of her bed, and looked at all of the things her parents left for her. She loved the new colored pens and pretty stickers. Now she had enough envelopes and stamps and great new comic books, box of tissues for just in case. But the best thing of all was Marcy's radio CD player, because she loved to play all of her music. Marcy had headphones, and it would be great to be able to hear all of her favorite songs again. So Marcy washed her face, brushed her teeth, and that's something that you all can do before you go to bed. It kind of helps us to wind down at the end of the day. Brush our teeth, maybe wash the face. She got into pajamas and she settled into bed. This bed was okay, but Marcy really looked forward to sleeping in her very own bed at home. Marcy never really realized how wonderful her own bed was until she had to sleep in this one, in a bunk. Did that ever happen to you, where you didn't appreciate something until you didn't have it anymore? Well, it's very important to count our blessings. So Marcy got all tucked in, she tucked herself in, and then started listening to her CD. It sounded so relaxing. She didn't realize how much she missed it until she got to camp. So there you go. Marcy is putting things into perspective, one item at a time. All the other kids fell asleep, and Marcy was getting tired. She finally relaxed enough to turn off the music and go to sleep. And before she knew it, morning came. There was an email message from her mom. Marcy was so glad her parents had a good time on visiting day, but somehow it seemed almost harder now because she just saw them and wanted to be with them all over again. Visiting day made things harder for Marcy because now she was homesick just as she was before. The girls all got dressed and went to breakfast, and Marcy noticed there was one little girl who never seemed to be homesick. Not even one drop. Not one tiny bit. Marcy wondered why. She was very impressed. She thought she could learn something. So she asked her, "Cindy, you don't seem homesick, are you?" "Nope," Cindy said simply. "Why not?" Marcy asked. "Well, I got no reason to be. I'm going to see my parents in 2 more weeks, and then I'll have all the attention I want. My parents miss me as much as I miss them, and I know I'm safe. See, they know I'm safe too, and that's why they're okay with me being here. And I'm learning stuff, I'm meeting people, and I'm having fun. Why should I waste time being homesick when I know my family loves me and everything I love is waiting for me when I get back? Gives me something to look forward to." That sounded very sensible to Marcy. She agreed with everything that Cindy said. So she thought, maybe she should try looking at things a bit differently. Marcy sat with Cindy during breakfast and thought a lot about what she said. This is a very important point because Marcy was finding people who could be positive role models for her. So as we go through our day, and as we go through life, we see who seems to have the vibration around them and the attitude around them that we would like to emulate, that we would like to imitate. So in this case, Marcy found a little girl who was a very good role model. Let's see what happened. First period at camp was interesting. The girls got from the bunk into a circle, and they each had a chance to share a thought. Marcy was surprised by the things she learned about the other kids and things she learned about herself. The counselors began. "Okay, listen up, girls. Today we're going to talk about being homesick and not being homesick. Who wants to begin?" Well, that's interesting. That's something that Marcy was thinking about. I bet it was on the minds of a lot of the children. I'll share, said Lori. I'm homesick, and I want to go home now. Well, somebody else said, well, I'm not homesick. I love it here. It's better than where I live. At camp, I have a bed to sleep on. At home, I sleep on a floor. I have 3 meals here. I get to eat food almost all day long. At home, I eat 1 meal a day. And I feel safe here. At home, there are bad people who try to take children away. Oh my goodness, that's an awful lot of sharing, and that sounds very scary. Let's hear the rest. I don't want to go home. I want to live here forever, said Frida. Frida is a little girl who was sharing this information. Then it was Cindy's turn. I'm not homesick, but it isn't because I don't have a good life at home. I think I have a great life at home. I know I'm very lucky. I'm sorry, Frida, that you have a hard time at home, and I hope things change for you, and I can understand why you don't want to go back there. Wow, these girls were doing some pretty intense sharing. Then Phyllis said something. There were a lot of girls sharing. Well, why aren't you homesick? Asked Phyllis. She was trying to work things out for herself. Oh, so she's one of the little girls that Marcy helped in one of the other stories. Okay. Well, it's simple, said Cindy, because I know that even though my life at home is great, life here at camp is kind of great. I get to have sleepover with bunk friends every single night for a lot of nights in a row, and I get to write letters to my parents. So you could see, Cindy did an awful lot of sharing about what she enjoyed, and Cindy goes on and on. Well, Phyllis said, that makes sense. Oh, so Cindy, by sharing something positive, didn't have to be afraid of sharing positive things. She wasn't hurting anybody's feelings, and other people could learn from her. That's very important. When we let our own selves shine, we give others permission to let themselves shine, to let their own selves shine too. Okay. And then Cindy added, at home, although I love my friends and families, I do get bored a lot. There's so much to do here. Swimming, tennis, running through the woods. I like being in charge of myself. So Cindy was counting all of her blessings and all the stuff she loved about camp. And she goes on and on. Well, Marcy listened carefully to Cindy and respected her as a new friend. Cindy sounded wise, and it was Marcy's turn to share. Well, I'm kind of homesick, but I don't think I feel that way all the time. I love it here. I just wish I could go home at night. But don't you think you appreciate your whole family more now that you're away from home? Asked Cindy. Well, I already appreciate them. I count my blessings all the time. I know I'm lucky. I think 2 weeks would have been enough for me here. So Marcy recognizes what her limitations are and what her preferences are regarding camp. And that's okay. Fair enough, added a counselor. Anyone else want to share? Oh, I still have something to add, said Marcy. Oh, sorry, said the counselor. Marcy thought her voice sounded a little mean when she had interrupted Marcy. Well, that was her interpretation. Didn't really sound mean to me. I think if the counselors were more caring, interested, and sensitive, it would make it easier for me and other kids who feel the way I do. Ooh, Marcy really expressed herself. That's a gutsy kid. Cindy said, but Marcy, you can't let some other people make your day rotten. You have to be in charge. So write down what you like and what you don't like. This is Cindy. This is another camper, okay? I think that the counselors should be stepping in and stepping up, but thank goodness, yeah, right? But thank goodness they had Cindy. So Cindy said, take charge. Write down what you like and what you don't like, what you miss, and what you have here that you enjoy. You have to see which list is longer, the good stuff or the sad and bad stuff, the happy stuff or the unhappy stuff. So, Cindy had a lot more to say. Got to feel lucky if you have a good time, and she went on and on. So one of the counselors pointed out, the adults are here to make sure your camp experience is fun and safe. You don't have to be afraid. Anything in your environment. The water is safe. Your parents like us. So the counselor. So there are a lot of dynamics going on. And I think the best thing for Marcy to be able to do is take notes and be able to share this with her parents or even write in letters. And I think Marcy did write those letters. So we're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we'll see how Marcy wrapped up that keeping perspective story. And then we'll see what happens when she gets home at last. We'll be right back. This is WPWL 103.7 FM Polling Public Radio. You're listening to Marcy's World, and I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Iankowitz. So let's make that a really brief, yes, because